We'll start with Adolescence, though. Rarely does a TV show make its way through our homes, into all our conversations, even into Westminster. I guess it happened with the great post office scandal programme from ITV, but it's now this Netflix hit with Stephen Graham called Adolescence. And in case you haven't seen it, I've been watching it myself. It follows a 13-year-old boy called Jamie who's arrested and accused of violently attacking and killing a girl from his school. And you then get into the whole rationale of what on earth he thought he was doing, why would he have stabbed a girl in his class, etc. It covers the dangers of social media, misogyny online, and every parent's worst nightmare, that their child could do something life-changingly terrible, or maybe have something like that done to them. So here is a clip from Adolescence.
Why do you need guns for a 13-year-old? He's 13.
Do you believe me that I've not done anything?
Of course I believe you. They know you was dad, we know you was dad. It's okay to process, it's okay to be shocked, and it's okay to be human. Yeah, I mean, this isn't normal, do you know what I mean? No. He's a good kid, yeah? And I'm a good dad. Look at me. I'm gonna ask you once. Did you do it?
Well, he says no, but the police have evidence to the contrary. And since it was released on Netflix, Adolescence has broken streaming records, reached 24 million views in the first 4 days of its release, and has sparked a national conversation about what young men are seeing online in the so-called manosphere, and how they're being turned against girls and women. And we'll talk more about this in a moment. Remarkably, it came up in Prime Minister's questions because an MP said, should it be shown in schools? Labour MP. And this was Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister's reaction.
At home, we are watching Adolescence with our children. I've got a 16-year-old boy and a 14-year-old girl, and it's a very, very good drama. This violence carried out by young men, influenced by what they see online, is a real problem. It's abhorrent, and we have to tackle it. We are putting in specialist rape and sexual offences teams in every police force, doing work on the 999 calls. But this is also a matter of culture that I think it's important that across the whole House we tackle this emerging and growing problem.
Keir Starmer speaking in the Commons. Have you seen Adolescence? Did it lead to you talking about this area, misogyny, the manosphere with your kids? Did you find out about what influences were operating on maybe a young son of yours and you couldn't believe it? Text us 88291, email vine@bbc.co.uk, WhatsApp us on the long number 08000 288 291. Go to speak in a moment to Steve Chalk, who's the founder of the Oasis Charitable Trust, which includes Oasis Restore, and it works with young people who've been convicted of violent crimes. Emily Cleary, first of all, mum of a 12-year-old boy and a 10-year-old daughter, journalist as well. You watching it?
Hi, Jeremy. Yes, we watched the last episode last night, and I'm still reeling from it, I think. It's definitely opened up conversations. It's opened up my eyes and my husband's eyes to what can happen. I've done within my work, I've done a lot of research on kind of incels and the manosphere, and I feel like I'm pretty up to date with what this all is. I had no clue whatsoever about the different meanings of the emojis that they use and how a child can be bullied in front of you without you even realising. I think it's sparked a lot of questions, and it's also sparked conversation. And the question that was asked, Keir Starmer saying he's watching it with his children, they're slightly older than mine. I don't think I would want mine to watch it now, because the result of the conversations I've had with them is that thankfully they aren't exposed to it in this same way. But I think, if my son came home and said he wanted to watch it, or if it got to the point maybe in a year or two where I felt he should do, then I would probably watch it with him. It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. And having a 12-year-old boy and seeing that incredible actor playing Jamie, but this wasn't these children that get drawn in, these boys that get drawn in. They're not all. It's not a really poverty-stricken background with abuse in the family. This is normal children. This is normal boys who are looking for affirmation, looking for confidence, and they're being drawn in and manipulated, and it's terrifying.
So, someone's given me a list of emojis. There's about 800 emojis, and I only ever use 30. And the
So I shared that with your team, the one that I've now shared with my friends, which I had no idea. My 10-year-old daughter told me about what the different coloured hearts meant. I had no idea on that.
Help us then. What do the different coloured hearts mean?
So apparently, the one that's a kind of a pulsing heart means that you're interested but not in sex. A yellow heart means, are you interested? A blue heart means it's just platonic. I think there can be more kind of sinister meanings as well. But there's other things that I didn't realise. You know, the use of a skull, which means like, that's funny, I'm dead from laughing. Apparently, the 100% emoji is tied to the 80-20 rule. I know that you were talking to Bertrand
help us
about
understand.
earlier.
So I did not know this, but if you put that 100 emoji, you're making a reference to this idea that is put around by these
So that's pushed by like
influencers.
Andrew Tate and people saying that that 80% of women are only attracted to 20% of men. And basically, you know, do we get rid of the women? Do we punish them? You're going to be involuntary celibate for the rest of your life. You know, it's really scary. And this dynamite emoji means it could be somebody who's already been radicalized as an incel, or used as an insult by a girl to a boy, saying, you know, you're an incel, or you're going to be a virgin forever, is what they're kind of saying to them. And it's
And this is what
really
happens.
Scary.
Not to spoil it, but I mean, those people who watch it it's pretty soon that you realise that something about this boy has been insulted by the girl, or that's how he sees it, and he cannot handle being insulted in that way, and it's all to do with male pride, and you know, I'm not going to be humiliated, and therefore I've got a right to kill her. That's what's going on? Yeah.
Absolutely. And what does every teenage boy, you know, boys, kids in general, but boys around my son's age, around, you know, the character Jamie's age, they want to be popular. They want to be liked. They want to be liked by girls or by boys, whoever they're interested in. They want, affirmation that they are okay, that they are strong. And that's where this Andrew Tate thing, I had a conversation with my son several months ago, because he wanted a social media, he wanted TikTok. So I created a parent thing, and I said, you know, if anything from Andrew Tate comes up, you have to tell me. And it was within 2 days of him having an account, and he just looked at Doctor Who and Oasis, you know.
And Andrew Tate came up, yeah.
Andrew Tate came up. So, it's infiltrating his feed when he hasn't searched for anything other than Doctor Who or Noel Gallagher.
Well, stay there if you can, Emily. Let's talk to Steve Chalk about this. Do you see the influence of these misogynistic thought leaders, Steve, when you come to the other end of the chain, which is where people have offended already?
Yes, absolutely, all the way through. When Oasis Restore, which is the first secure school in the country, an alternative to a youth jail where young people who've committed very serious violent crime, including murder, they come to us from the courts, and it's our job to work with them. Before we started, I wrote on the website that many of the young people that came to us could have been involved in the kind of culture we're talking about now and the influences we're talking about now. I would now cross that out. In fact, I have crossed it out, and we just say all of the young people are involved in this. This is going on in front of our eyes. Stephen Graham himself said, I think at the premiere of Adolescence, he said, when I was growing up, my mum knew that if I was in my bedroom, I was safe. Now, for a child to be in their bedroom with a phone is the most unsafe place in the world.
Wow.
There's no control.
Well, Emily, what do you do? How do you intrude, Emily? Because it gets, you know, a teenage girl's bedrooms are very private places.
So we've actually had this discussion in our house in the past couple of weeks, where my son wants to have his phone charging in his room overnight, and I've said no. And that was before we'd seen this program, because the thing is, you know, my concern was you can be bullied in your room. It interrupts your sleep, you know, if you've got a device there. But I think this is it, that before they would, if I went up to bed, I'd be reading Nancy Drew or Sweet Valley High. I wouldn't be going onto technology, which exposed me to absolutely everything that's happening in the world around us. And I think you have to control things. So I have a parent account with TikTok so that my son can have that, and I do frequently check on that. He sits there and he watches, these reels and things over and over again, and I don't check it as much as I could, I guess. I would fully support the whole Australia idea of kids under 16 not having access to social media. I think it's so threatening, so damaging. My daughter has already seen things that you can never unsee. And we have the protections on YouTube Kids on her account. And, she has friends who are on social media and who are posting things that are available. They're out there. They're in the public domain. And I won't have her face on things like that. I'm guilty of putting her face all over my Facebook. But it's within your control. And I think what you need to do is have these conversations with them.
But Steve, I was going to say that online activity does not necessarily lead to real life harm, or does it?
It doesn't necessarily lead to real life harm, but we have to be aware of all of the... Drinking wine doesn't necessarily lead to alcoholism. Driving a car doesn't necessarily lead to a crash, et cetera, et cetera. Smoking a cigarette doesn't necessarily lead to lung cancer. But over the years, we've learned that you have to be very, very careful what you expose young people to. And we've also learned that the big companies try to get away with it for as long as they can. We had to bring the tobacco companies to heel. We had to bring, or we're bringing, hopefully, the oil companies to heel, et cetera, the alcohol companies. We have this huge industry, which it goes under the banner of social media. So many good things in it and so many terrible things that are so destructive to kids' lives. That's what I've learned about working with children who've committed violent crime. Each one of them has committed violent crime. Each one of them is also a victim of the crimes that our society allows to continue. And the last thing I'd say, Jeremy, often all of this gets flung at the door of schools, doesn't it? Schools should ban mobile phones, et cetera, et cetera. The truth is, it's the moment, and we run over 50 schools, as you know, it's the moment a child leaves school. It's when they're on the street. It's when they're with their friends. It's when they're at home. It's when they're in their bedrooms. So this is all a societal issue. And perhaps Jamie, although he committed this violent crime in this drama, Netflix drama, perhaps Jamie is as much a victim of society as the girl he killed is his victim.
Okay, thank you. Steve Chalk, founder of Oasis Charitable Trust, which includes Oasis Restore, that works with young people like the fictional Jamie. BBC Radio 2 talking about the TV drama Adolescence. Not a BBC one, it's Netflix. But it's been, it's just at the centre of the national conversation. When did you last hear the Prime Minister refer to a TV show, a Prime Minister's Questions, no less? It's got us all talking in Devon. We've got Jodie. Hi, Jodie.
Hi, Jeremy.
So you're getting a bit worried now about your 12-year-old boy.
Yes, I was obviously worried before this programme, but obviously it's brought a lot of things to light that a lot of parents weren't aware of. So, yes.
This idea that this 80-20 thing I've only really focused on since the show went out, which is this, the idea that 80% of women or girls are only attracted to 20% of boys or men, and therefore 80% of men will spend the whole of their lives not having any sex. I mean, that's fundamentally and therefore the incel movement is about trying to somehow undo that. Is that news to you? That
completely ridiculous.
Crazy.
But I suppose the one thing that's worrying is they're growing up in such a different world to what we grew up in. So I think that you have, trying to talk about that kind of thing to a 12-year-old, he just doesn't really understand.
Yeah,
what
but
I'm
also,
saying.
Isn't it funny? Because if you talk to him before he's seen the Andrew Tate stuff, then in a way you are unveiling it to him.
Exactly, and that's why we haven't watched the programme together yet, because if I did, would that just send things the wrong way? So it's very difficult as a parent to know what to do for the best.
Oh, well, keep listening, because I know we're going to have a good conversation about this, Jodie. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Take care. You. Sam in Liverpool, you're dealing with the same thing.
Yes. Hi, Jeremy. Good afternoon to you.
And to you.
I watched it on my own, first of all, because obviously I'm a Stephen Graham fan and wanted to see what it was all about. And then my daughter, who's 17, then watched it, which then started conversations around the dinner table about it. My wife doesn't really want to watch it and hasn't watched it. I don't think she's keen on with there being a child murdered. But also, from what she's heard, there's the young boy in his room alone. And so we have an 11-year-old son who finishes school. He's got his mobile phone. He's not on many social media. I think he has Snapchat, but no TikTok, no Instagram, nothing like that. So it started conversation around the dinner table, and I didn't know anything about this 80-20 or Andrew Tate, but I just think it's quite commendable, and it started conversations that it's been brought to the front of the public, to start having chats about this.
But how does it? If your son is 11, I don't know if he's online in his own room on a computer or a tablet or a phone.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
So do you? How? Because you ought to be. If he's only 11, you should know really what he's seeing. But of course, that's easier said than done, isn't it?
It is a lot easier said than done. Obviously, when I say online, he has a private games account where he only speaks to his friends and plays online games. It's nothing public. You can try and check his phone and to a certain level. We know that he only has a big thing that he does watch is YouTube, and I think a previous caller had said about once it started, these Andrew Tate things come flooding through, and that's something that I didn't even know about the Andrew Tate thing, and it's got to start conversations with our son and even our daughter, and when these things come flooding through,
for sure. Thank you, Sam, very much. Kylie in Neats, Cambridgeshire, hello.
Hello.
What do you think should be the message here for parents?
I think I came off a little bit annoyed because I think it sends mixed messages. One where I think it was very good, making parents aware they need to be more aware of what their children are doing and watching, but also that it was not the parents' fault. And I thought, this is a 13-year-old boy, my first thought watching it, 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, wandering the streets. The parents didn't know where he was on a school night.
Yeah.
My son would not be out at that time, and I would know damn well where he was. And to the fact that the PlayStation was in his room, he got home from school, whatever it was, the game, straight in his room, door shut, and he was on there all night. And then the mum said she'd get up in the night and see the light on and knock on the door. I'd be in that room off now. My son, I've got two sons. One's 21, one's 14. Neither of them have had the consoles in the bedroom. The eldest does now, obviously. It's that we're lucky we've got an extra room, and it's downstairs. As much as it's been the vein in our life with shouting and screaming online, we know exactly what he's doing, who he's playing with, what's going on.
Maybe this is the thing, is keeping the screens downstairs. Although, I've got two daughters and I'd never enforced that rule, and I think I would have ended up being so resented if I had done. But maybe it's different with girls as well, I don't know.
I don't care, I'm sorry, but parents need to parent, and computers and online and gaming is not a babysitter.
That's true. Thank you, Kylie, very much.